One of the biggest questions I always receive in the comments, and one of the greatest curiosities of everyone who followed the Tournament of Power arc in Dragon Ball Super, is why this angel smiled while watching his own universe be erased. Why did he react differently from everyone else? And why did he feel pleasure at the destruction of all life in Universe 9 before it was restored by Android 17's wish? Anyone who thinks he simply considers himself superior, or that he would prefer to be the angel of another universe, is wrong. The truth is that Mojito, one of the oldest beings in the multiverse, knows something rotten behind the history of the 12 universes, and the reason for that is bizarre. It creates a massive problem for Universe 7, a problem that not even Goku or Vegeta can dream of knowing yet. Whis has known this since the very beginning of Dragon Ball Super, and it was exactly for this reason that he went to train Goku and Vegeta. Today I'm going to reveal to you the entire truth behind the 12, or rather, the 18 universes that exist in Dragon Ball Super. This enormous danger for Universe 7 is a problem for all of our protagonists, who do not even know the full truth behind it. Neither Goku nor Vegeta dream of anything related to the whole truth that lies behind the Grand Priest, the Grand Priests, and the Angels. As for those who have complete knowledge, it is the Angels, the Grand Priests, and Zeno himself. Beyond that, there is no record of any being within Dragon Ball who possesses this information. Not even Zalama, the creator of the Super Dragon Balls, probably knows this, because in every scene where this information is revealed, no Destroyer God is present. However, it is likely that all of them are aware of it, since it involves a tragedy with their companions. And because it is a sad and also extremely alarming event, neither Goku nor Vegeta know about it. After all, even Beerus has difficulty moving around and even receiving information from all universes. And if Goku and Vegeta knew about this, their motivation to become the strongest warriors would increase enormously. So, to develop the subject behind the 18 universes that many people believe are only 12, I am going to reveal to you the reason for his laughter. The reason is divided into two main things, one very relevant and the other even more essential than relevant. But first, let us introduce this particular angel so the scene makes sense. Mojito is the angel of Universe 9, the first universe to be developed outside of Universe 6 in the Dragon Ball Super anime. Because of the large difference in episodes between one and the other, we were able to meet the Danger Trio, made up of 3 wolves, Basil, Lavender, and Bergamo. This trio was not very strong in the Tournament of Power. They did not even come close against Gohan and Majin Buu. It was kind of fun, but nothing special. What really draws attention in this universe is its Destroyer God, Sidra. He is simply the worst Destroyer God. The official character description says he tends to overthink things, be indecisive, and hardly ever destroys anything. He was described as feeling disgust toward mortals, probably because of the type of mortals that the Supreme Kai of his universe creates. After all, Hakaishin, Destroyer God, Hakai meaning to destroy, Shin meaning God, and Kaioshins meaning God of creation. Not all Kaios are Kaioshins. Some Kaios are just Kaios. Kaio is the name of the race. You could call them Kaiojin, just like the name Saiyan or Saiyajin. But Kaio is the race, and the Kaioshin is the Kaio who became a god because Shin means god. But he becomes a god in the very tree from which they emerge. If you want, I can make a video about the Dragon Ball hierarchy explaining the normal gods, how the Kaios of each universe are categorized, the Kaioshins, the Supreme Kais, the Hakaishin, the Destroyer Gods, the Angels, the Grand Priest, the Grand Priests, Zeno, and so on. What do you think of this video? Would you watch it? But I will only have the motivation to make it if you give this video a lot of likes. So if this video does well, yes, I will make it. To summarize, with a Destroyer God who takes way too long to analyze whether a planet should be destroyed and ends up destroying nothing, and a Supreme Kai who creates bad lives, Universe 9 was set up to go very wrong. And that is exactly what happened. Its angel, Mojito, basically has no emotional connection anymore, or perhaps never had much of one, either with Sidra the Destroyer God or with Ro the Supreme Kai. So first of all, he should not have cared much about this, but the hole goes much deeper, and it is closer to a black hole that can swallow all universes. Let us talk about the danger of the mortal level. The mortal level is one of the most important things in Dragon Ball, if not the most important thing for the universe. It is a shame it was barely mentioned in the anime, being covered much better in the manga, as well as in guides and magazines that give examples of what the mortal level is. It is one of the important concepts that was poorly developed in Dragon Ball, just like the S-cells and other things I can also explain in future videos. When the mortal level first appeared, you could already tell it would be important, because 4 universes were exempted from the tournament simply for having a very high mortal level. All universes above 7 as a mortal level score did not have to participate in the life or death tournament. Universe 7, our universe, has only 3.18, making it the second lowest of all, meaning the second worst universe. This is due to the lack of intervention by the Supreme Kai in the mortal universe, and the arbitrary destruction of planets by Beerus. This makes it clear that Akira Toriyama imagines the Kaioshins as alien beings who, by belonging to a more developed race, carry the obligation to help less developed races to grow. It is as if the entire universe were a state. Even though most universes do not know this exists, several races developed on their own without needing the Kaioshins, such as the the Tuffles, a race known for being very intelligent, and who even invented Frieza's power trackers. Here, Akira Toriyama shows that, probably from their perspective, the so-called superior individuals should help the so-called inferior individuals. But in this system, who decides who is superior or who is inferior? Can we claim that the culture of one planet is superior to the culture of another? And what would be the basis for that? Who measures it? In the Dragon Ball universe, this is done in an arbitrary and compulsory way, with Zeno and the Grand Priest as the heads of everything. The angels are beings who know things. The Destroyer Gods are basically an accessory to execute this plan, just like the Kaioshins, because they come from a tree. Dragon Ball is one of the stories that also refers to the concept of the Tree of Life, which is why the gods of creation come from this tree called Kaiju. I can explain this in more detail also in the Dragon Ball Hierarchy video, if you want. The way Universe 7 was administered resulted in only 28 well-developed planets, which is very few. On top of that, 5 other universes are marked for elimination by Zeno, along with Universe 6 and 9, and of course ours. This was happening even before the Tournament of Power, but the tournament shifted the perception of the mortal level a bit, and gave us a clue as to what Zeno believes are well-developed planets and universes. The universes that were not classified by Zeno as disposable are also ranked on a scale from weakest to strongest. The current list is Universe 9, then Universe 7, Universe 6, 4, 10, 3, and 11. The strongest among those who participated in the Tournament of Power is Jiren's universe. Some universes have a similar mortal level. For example, Universes 6 and 7. There is also a pattern. Twin universes generally have a similar mortal level, but with differences here and there, showing they are like human twins, with many similarities, mainly physical, and many differences, mainly psychological, but potentially very similar. The same happens with Universes 3 and 10, 2 and 11, 5 and 8, and 1 and 12, which are the other paired universes. The strongest pair is 1 and 12. The only exception is Universes 4 and 9, which actually have somewhat different mortal levels, but they can be considered abnormal. It may be very difficult to find decent villains in those universes, but they certainly have interesting stories to tell, and the Universal Exploration Saga is one of the most explored ideas for the future of Dragon Ball, which excites me greatly. They will need to be creative. The concept of mortal level should not be limited only to what was seen in the Tournament of Power, and even though they can explore later how these levels are actually determined, currently we have a general idea, and we know that the mindset of the universe's population matters a great deal. After all, Android 17 asked for all universes to be restored, demonstrating that above all else, he has respect for life, which is one of the main characteristics of extremely intelligent people. And intelligent planets certainly add a great deal to the universe's mortal level. Earth has intelligent and strong inhabitants that also contribute to the universal level. After all, through their own intelligence, they managed to master the Kamehameha. But similarly to the Yadrats, who taught instant transmission to Goku, humans were not born with high raw power, yet the planet has science, art, and cuisine. Without a doubt, Zeno's mindset of enjoying 17's wish reflects admiration. This shows that Universe 7 was always deserving of winning the Tournament of Power. But being intelligent life is not enough. Life also needs to be good in terms of morality. After all, selfish lives destroy other lives, which hurts the mortal level, and respect for life is without a doubt linked to morality. And that is exactly why the angels hold a deep resentment toward the Grand Priest, but they cannot speak about it, otherwise they will be erased. The angels in Dragon Ball are a kind of hostage. They cannot fight, they cannot attack, they cannot interfere in the balance of the universe, because they are beings superior to the mortal plane. The problem is that angels become attached to humans. For example, Whis became attached to Goku and Vegeta, and greatly enjoys training them. But what if Mojito, Margarita, and even Whis had to keep a terrible secret from Goku and Vegeta? That is exactly what is happening. Remember when I said the hole went much deeper? Remember when I said that 17's wish had been recognized as a truly compassionate wish, one that according to the Grand Priest and Zeno was greatly appreciated, giving the impression that he truly respected the right to life? Well, it turns out that is not every life. There are rejected planets, rejected universes, and Zeno truly does reject them if the form of life is not as compassionate or developed as, for example, Android 17. Lives can be erased without mercy, and that is exactly what Zeno did in the past. Remember when I said that most people believe Zeno created 12 universes? That is not true. The truth is that in the past there were 18 universes in Dragon Ball, but because they had a very low mortal level, 6 of them were erased. So does that mean the 6 brothers of Whis, Mojito, Margarita, and many others simply do not exist anymore? Of course not, people. They are still alive. We have 2 proofs of this. The first is that Whis already knew he would not be erased in the Tournament of Power right after receiving the message about the tournament. In other words, divine beings do not take risks. But why does the Destroyer God take risks? Because the gods are actually just mortals who were given the position of Destroyer God and then made a life pact with a Supreme Kai, linking their lifespan to the lifespan of a Supreme Kai, which is generally millions of years. So it is as if Goku, who would have a life expectancy of perhaps 100 and some years, made a life pact with a Supreme Kai who lives millions of years, and took on that life expectancy, and from that moment on, the obligation of being a destroyer god. That is what happened to Beerus back when he was just a mortal. Therefore, we can see that there is actually a huge difference between Whis and Beerus, which according to Akira Toriyama himself is much greater than the difference between Beerus and Goku, for example. And this has been the case since the very beginning of Dragon Ball Super. So then, where did those angels end up? Well, remember I said there were two proofs. The second proof is a passage from an old magazine called Vium, where even before the Tournament of Power began, it had already published that the angels would not be erased because they had Dragon Ball spoilers. Back then, it was exclusive content purchased by the magazine. So, where are they? According to the magazine, they are simply exempt from their function in a different plane of existence. In other words, they are not in the mortal universe. Perhaps they are together with Zeno, the Grand Priest, and others in the palace, or perhaps they are in another plane that we do not even know about. We also have no idea, and it is not really worth theorizing about in this video. In summary, the 12 active angels have to live with the fact that the other 6 angels are simply inactive, and we do not know exactly what kind of life they have, or even whether their siblings know about it. Beyond that, there is another great mystery in Dragon Ball, the mystery of the Apprentice angels. Merus in the manga was the only Apprentice angel to appear in Dragon Ball. He was from the Galactic Patrol, learning how to be an angel and carry out the role of an angel. It is likely that the 6 angels who are currently exempt from their duties were inexperienced. This contributed to the destruction of their universe, or perhaps they are not even at fault. The fact is that the only Apprentice angel who appeared was Merus. Could there be one for each universe? If so, where are they? The whereabouts of these angels have not yet been explained, but there are many things poorly told regarding the angels in Dragon Ball. That is why the final saga of Dragon Ball, after all the episodes that come from the production team's imagination, will probably be the Angel Saga, where they could draw inspiration from the original story of Lucifer, for example, and transpose it onto the figure of the Grand Priest, with the role of God going to Zeno, and the angels remaining as the angels. I have not seen anyone else make this connection, but I made this correlation the very first time I learned about the 18 universes. In the Bible, it is said that 1/3 of the angels rebelled against God. The Dragon Ball universe once had 18 universes. 6 were erased, and those 6 angels lost their activities. The number 6 is to 18 what 1 is to 3. In other words, 6 divided by 18 equals 1 divided by 3, and 1 divided by 3 is nothing more than 1/3. And exactly 1/3 of the angels rebelled in the Bible, and exactly 1/3 of the angels have reason to rebel in Dragon Ball Super. Your minds are probably exploding right now. I have always made this kind of video, and I am coming back now with very high quality. I wanted to bring this video to you about Mojito and the Apocalypse Saga, where the rebellious angels and their allies plan to destroy all universes and wipe out the mortals. It would mix a little with the idea of the Merus arc, which is very on brand for Dragon Ball Super, so subscribe so you do not miss absolutely anything, and comment below the topic you want for the next video. The best video on the channel right now is the video of the top 20 strongest, with a very good edit and an excellent presentation. It has already gone viral, but I believe the video of the top 12 strongest gods was even better edited and better produced, so if you have not seen it, go check it out. Thank you very much for all your support, for the likes, for the subscriptions, and that is basically it, everyone. Thank you very much for your support. I will see you next time.